Welcome to Shots Fired. I'm Brad Freakin Nolen, and today with me I have the one and only
Nick Bell
and the legend himself,
Travis Keene.
We are live in Cana, Virginia to bring you our Week 5 picks. But first, Trav, update us on the standings.
All right, last week in Week 4, Brad led the way with 10 wins and 5 losses. Nick Bell came in second with 9 wins and 6 losses, and unfortunately, I drug up the rear with 8 wins and 7 losses. And overall, Bradley is 37 and 24 overall in first place. I'm 36 and 25, just one game behind. And Nick Bell is still dragging up the rear, but he gained a little bit of ground on me at 33 and 28, setting 3 games behind me.
What do you think of that, Nick Bell?
Well, as a matter of fact, I was thinking about going through a table today, and then I thought it was like it's gonna happen in February. So I was like, it's gonna be cold out here, so I don't want to be out here in this cold going through a table. So hopefully it'll be Travis or Brad. Maybe I can make a late season comeback.
What did y'all think of some of the storylines from Week 4?
Well, Patriots ended their drama, just demolishing the Dolphins. I was kind of hoping they'd lose, but they didn't. And then Cincinnati, last second touchdown to A.J. Green. He had a day. I think he collected 2 touchdowns, and Andy Dalton threw for 3. And Giovanni Bernard had 2 rushing touchdowns. Yep. He did good for me in fantasy this week. But, the Giants continue to disappoint me. They did terrible against the Saints, and that Saints pass defense is just horrific.
Yeah, Trav, what about those Giants supposed to beat the Saints?
Well, I was with you out in Nashville at the Titans game, so I haven't even seen the first highlight from the game. The only thing I know is they lost 33-18. I guess defense just couldn't stop the Saints' offense. Eli couldn't generate enough offense.
And what about those Denver Broncos you picked to beat the Chiefs? What about the legend that is Pat Mahomes?
Now, I did watch all of that game Monday night. Denver should have won. A lot of missed opportunities for Denver. They're on their last drive. Demaryius Thomas was wide open, and Case Keenum overthrew him. And if he would have threw him the ball, made a better pass, then Demaryius Thomas would have walked in the end zone, and it had been an easy touchdown. And at that point, it was only going to be like 20 seconds to go, and Kansas City wouldn't have had enough time to have gotten down the field and scored. And that's with Mahomes being as great as he is. And 20 seconds, I'd have found it hard-pressed to believe he could have got him down the field in that amount of time. But anyhow, I'll give him credit, though. They won the game, give him credit.
I think Mahomes is the next big star in the NFL. I think he's the next Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady type guy.
Russell Wilson.
Yeah, Russell Wilson. He is amazing. And what about Mitch Trubisky? He had himself a day, didn't he, Nick Bell?
Yeah, I was just shocked that the Buccaneers came out and played that terrible. I mean, I picked them to win. I was like, at least thinking they kept the game within 7 points. But, man, the loss is not on Ryan Fitzpatrick. That loss is on that Buccaneers defense and that coaching staff of Tampa Bay. I mean, I don't know. And then Jameis Winston comes in on his first possession and throws an interception. So I guess the Buccaneers are finally back down to earth and off of Cloud 9. So,
do you think this is the beginning of the Mitch Trubisky era, I'd say, or do you think it was just a one-game fluke?
Well, as right now, I'm just going to say it's a one-game fluke. I ain't going to get too high on him. I mean, this is his second year, and he hasn't – that's the first impressive game to me that he's had. I'm used to him being a game manager. But it's to throw 6 touchdowns and to continue when you're up already 3 touchdowns and you throw 3 more, that's pretty impressive. I don't know if the Buccaneers just laid down and quit playing, but I want to see how he does in a tight, high-scoring game against a decent defense.
I don't think this is a fluke. I think this is going to continue to happen. Not 6 touchdowns every week, but I could expect 3 or 4 regularly because that Bears offense has got a lot of weapons. They have a good coordinator. I think this is going to be a common theme.
What do you think about them Eagles? Just tell me, I'm not trying to rub it in or anything, but what was your perspective? Like, how was your emotions throughout the whole game?
Well, I thought we were up 17-3. I thought, well, this game's over. I come all the way here just to see a blowout. Then they started coming back. I'm like, all right, well, at least it's a game now. Then they took the lead. I'm like, all right, we got to quit messing around. We tied it, went to overtime, took the lead by 3. I'm like, we're good. They're not going to go down the field tied or score. Then they converted 3 fourth downs.
One of them 4th and 15, too.
Yeah, and then I'm worried, oh, crap, they're going to tie. And that's just as bad as a loss, maybe worse. I'm like, I come all the way here for a tie. Heck no. But then next thing I know, Mariota hits Corey Davis, walk-off touchdown. The fans start going crazy. I'm like, oh, well, it is what it is. They should have played better, but...
Did anybody talk crap to you?
Oh, yeah.
Game?
They didn't say anything till after the game was over. Then it was on.
What all they say?
Well, it was really hot in Tennessee. It was like 85, sun beating down on me all day. So I took my jersey off, like, beginning of the first quarter. I was like, man, it's too hot. So I'm walking around with my jersey after the game, hanging on my shoulder, and people are like, don't take it off because they lost. I'm like, I've had it off all day. It's been hot. And they're just dancing in front of me and all this junk. There's a lot of Eagles fans there, too, though. They were talking their fair share of trash. So I'd say there's just as many Eagles fans as Titans. Wouldn't you say, Trav?
Yeah, definitely. I'd say at least 50-50.
Did you take your anger out on Travis this weekend?
No, I didn't. We had a good time in Nashville, but
Yeah.
unfortunately couldn't get the win, but it's all good.
Yeah. Good memories made, I'd say. Maybe not exactly for Bradley, but for the rest of us anyhow. Good to see a new city, new stadium, good atmosphere. It being hot, it was really great.
Mariota played arguably the best game of his career that game, so I give him props. But let's get into the Week 5 picks. Nick, take it away.
All right. And this might be the lock of the week for me. The Indianapolis Colts versus the New England Patriots. Guys, what's your thoughts?
Well, I could see this potentially being a high-scoring game, but yeah, I think this is pretty close to a lot. New England at home and everything, and they had a nice bounce-back win against Miami, demolishing the Dolphins in Foxborough. And now they get to stay home and they welcome the Colts. The Colts on a short week. The Colts are coming off, in my opinion, somewhat of a bad loss at home against Houston. I think Houston's record's a little deceiving. It was 0-3, of course. Now they're 1-3. But anyhow, I respect the Colts coach there in overtime against Houston when it was 4th down, and they could have just punted the ball and tied, and he went for it. I thought that was a gutsy call, and Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp, I watched their show today when I got home from work, and they made some good points about that game, Colts and Texans game, saying that if the coach had punted the ball, he would have lost the locker room, and I do agree with all that. And I thought it was a gutsy call. It backfired on them, unfortunately, for the Colts and their fans. But about the same old Colts, no defense at all, about like usual. Andrew Luck, I think he threw for like 350 yards or so. Andrew Luck's a stud. He just doesn't have enough help around him. But anyhow, getting back here to tomorrow night, I think New England, if they play like they're capable of on offense, they're at least going to put up, I could see anywhere between 35 and 38 points possibly. Of course, Patriots defense is pretty bad, so I think Andrew Luck could have a big game as well. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna go 35-20 Patriots.
Yeah, Andrew Luck had himself a day on Sunday. He is actually the second quarterback all time to throw for 400 yards, 4 touchdowns without any interceptions and lose the game. Only the second time that's ever happened. But yeah, I don't see the Colts going into Foxborough and beating Brady. I think they've got their system together now. Edelman will be back. So I like the Patriots in this one. I'm going to go 37-24.
Yeah, I'm going with the Patriots. I think they're going to win pretty big. I'm going to go 34-17. Still think Andrew Luck will have a big game. And I think I think Andrew Luck will have a big game. I don't think Tom Brady's going to have a good game. I think the running backs is going to carry that offense. And James White and Sonny Michelle. And Edelman, I think he's going to be a little slow starting out. But I think their go-to wide receiver this game is going to be Philip Dorsett, coming up big with a couple catches and a touchdown. But I got the Patriots rolling over easy. Moving on. The Tennessee Titans versus the Buffalo Bills. Brad.
I think the Titans are going to go into Buffalo and get the win. Titans are a solid team. They're a grinding team, gritty team. They find ways to win no matter what. Can't believe they're in first place. Would have never thought that at this point in the year. But they're 3-1, so give them props. But, yeah, I see them going into Buffalo, winning pretty easy. Just Josh Allen had a rough day in Green Bay, and I don't think it's going to get better against Tennessee's defense.
Yeah, I like the Titans as well in this game, and Bradley just made a lot of good points about Tennessee, about how they scratch, claw, just continue to find ways to win. Give those guys credit. Yeah, it's at Buffalo, so, I mean, that'll be a tough atmosphere for them to go into to try to get a win, but I think they can do it, though. I think it'll be a fairly good game. I think Buffalo will keep it interesting, keep it close at home for maybe 3.5 quarters possibly, but I think Tennessee will pull away late at the end, and I'm going to go 27-17 Tennessee. Tennessee's defense is pretty good too, by the way.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really close game. Up at Buffalo, Mariota's still not 100% healthy. Titans' defense is good, and the Bills' defense is decent. Seems like they got a lot better after Vontae Davis left. I mean, maybe just you have someone with that attitude, it really takes down a team. Yeah. Next man up, get somebody in there with a positive attitude, and hopefully that's what will happen to Seattle this weekend. But I'm going to go with the Titans in a close one, winning by a field goal, 20-17. And Ryan Suckup will kick a 40-plus yard field goal to end it.
Wow.
Bold prediction. Not bold, the Titans are going to win, but just the way you said it.
Yeah. The Atlanta Falcons versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, probably one of the most interesting matchups this weekend.
Yep.
Brad, what you got?
I like Pittsburgh at home in this one. Atlanta had a tough loss when they were at home this past week. They should have beat Cincinnati in their building, but Cincinnati, got the last laugh in it. But I think Pittsburgh, they're going to get it figured out. I think they might have some momentum knowing that they're going to get Le'Veon Bell back eventually. So they got that to look forward to. And I like the Steelers in this one. It's going to be a shootout, but I'm going to say Pittsburgh wins it by a touchdown.
Yeah, unfortunately, this will be the first time I've had to pick against Atlanta all year, but I'm going to have to do it, though, just because their defense is so bad and they have so many injuries on that side of the ball. Just tough times for the Falcons. I mean, their offense continues to put up great numbers and do work, but they just don't have a defense, and they should have won their last two games at home against Saints and Bengals, but unfortunately just didn't quite pull it out. But now they got to go to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's coming off, in my opinion, somewhat of a bad loss at home against Baltimore. I feel like they were pretty heavily favored to win that game, especially at home against their arch rivals, but just didn't play well and get the job done. Of course, I was coming back from Nashville that night, and I didn't see none of the game, but I do know the score is 26-14, of course. But, yeah, I think this will be a high-scoring game. If you like high-scoring games, tune into this one Sunday at Heinz Field in Pittsburgh. It's going to be high-scoring. I do think it'll be close. I think Matt Ryan's going to keep Falcons in it. Pittsburgh's defense isn't that good neither. Probably a little bit better than Atlanta's. It's definitely healthier than Atlanta's at this point, no doubt. But, yeah, I think Pittsburgh went on a late field goal. I'm actually going to go 42-39. I think it's going to be a very high-scoring game.
I'm going to go with Pittsburgh winning. This will be... Both quarterbacks will combine to throw for 8 touchdowns plus. And this is just so much talent. A juicy matchup. You got Julio Jones, Antonio Brown, Calvin Ridley, Juju Smith-Schuster, James Conner, and then maybe Devontae Freeman back.
Maybe, yeah.
If not, Tevin Coleman will fill it. But I'm going to roll with the Steelers. This is going to be about like the Bengals and Falcons game last week. It's going to go back and forth all game. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh winning.
Here's an interesting stat. In the last 360 days, Julio Jones has as many touchdowns as Nick Foles receiving.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
And who would have thought at this point in the season, looking back before the season started, that Atlanta would be in last place and Pittsburgh would be below 500, almost in last place in their division.
Week
Who would
five
have ever thought
matchup.
Atlanta would be 1-3?
It's insane. This season's been crazy.
Man, it's just,
Injuries, man, for Atlanta.
You could really have a dark horse in the playoffs the way this season's going because
True.
these early losses by these NFC teams, like the Packers blew one, the Vikings blew a couple. So this come playoff time, you might get some underdog that sneaks in because of a tiebreaker or something.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody good's gonna get left out. Next, the Denver Broncos coming off a Monday night game, having to travel out east to the East Coast and play the New York Jets. Travis.
Well, this may surprise some people, but I think the New York Jets is going to get this win Sunday at home. Denver's coming off a tough loss Monday Night Football at home against Kansas City, a game that was right there for them to win. And Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes, their first loss, just couldn't quite get it done. But like I said, give Kansas City credit, though. They grinded and they earned the win out in the Mile High, so give them credit. But, and I know y'all have heard me say this before, I'm not a fan of West Coast teams traveling to the East Coast for a 1 o'clock game, especially for Denver's case, coming off of a short week, too, and a tough loss on top of that. And the Jets, they haven't done much since they won week 1 up in Detroit. They've lost, I guess, 3 in a row now coming into this game, but I think they're going to do enough to win this game. I think Bilal Powell, Isaiah Crowell is going to have a big game running the ball. I guess it must have been funny the way I said his name, but anyhow. Denver's got a good pass defense, so it may be hard for Darnold to throw, but I do think they're going to run the ball pretty well in this game, and I think they're going to do enough on defense to stop Case Keenum, Demaryius Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, and those 2 young good backs that Denver's got. I think it'll be a good game, though. I think it'll be close. But, I'm going to go with the Jets. I'm going to go 24-21, Jets, late field goal.
Well, Travis, we have another disagreement on the Broncos this week. But this week I'm picking Denver over the Jets going into New York. I think the way that Denver played against Kansas City showed that they are a legit team. They play good defense. They slowed Mahomes as much as you can and almost got the win, but I see them handling Darnold pretty easy. Darnold has kind of fizzled out after that week 1 game. Needs a little bit more experience, so I'm going to take Denver in this one. It's going to be close, but I'm going to say Denver by 10.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very low scoring. Both these defenses are pretty good. It's going to come down to whoever can run the ball good because Case Keenum, man, he's just a disappointment to me, what I saw the other night against a terrible Chiefs defense. And Sam Darnold's a rookie playing against that Denver defense. The Denver defense is always good. So I'm going to go with Denver winning a low-scoring game. It'll be tight. This is sneaky good. So, all right. The Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Brad.
You know that bad man, Pat Mahomes, he's going to show out. I don't care if he's playing the Jacksonville Jaguars defense. He's going to have a good day. He's at home. Coming off that big win on Monday night, I don't see the Jaguars slowing him down. Now, if it was in Jacksonville, I might think differently, but since it's in Kansas City, I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I like them winning 23-20.
Yeah, I like the Chiefs as well. This may only the second time this year I've picked them. Both games have been at home on top of that. But, yeah, I feel pretty confident in the Chiefs this week to get to 5-0. I think, if I ain't mistaken, I seen today, too, that Leonard Fournette's out. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, he came.
Oh, he
confirmed
is?
It.
Okay, yeah.
So that's going to really hurt Jacksonville. Another reason why I don't think Jacksonville's going to win this game. I do know and realize Kansas City's defense isn't very good. I think worse in the league, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But Blake Bortles, in that environment on the road, as loud as it gets in Arrowhead, that's just really going to rattle him, I feel like. It's going to get awful loud there, especially them 4-0 with a chance to go 5-0 on top of that. So that's another factor I put into Kansas City winning. And I think, Jacksonville has a good defense. At this point, I question if it's as good as it was last year, but I still think they have a good, solid defense. But Kansas City just got too many weapons and playing at home. I think it'll be fairly close. I think Kansas City will pull away late. I'm going to go 31-17 Kansas City.
The Jaguars have not lost a game when Leonard Fournette sits out.
Really?
Yes. When Fournette is out, they win. That's an interesting stat.
Yeah.
So, what are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say they're gonna lose this weekend. I ain't got the balls to say they're gonna go into Kansas City and win. Kansas City's on fire right now, so I'm gonna go with the Chiefs winning. It's not gonna be a blowout. It's not gonna be close. It'd be about a 10 to 17 point game, and I think Mahomes is gonna have a big game. But rolling with the Chiefs. So let's see, Brad, you said the Chiefs, right?
Yep.
Everybody.
Everybody went to
City.
Chiefs.
Yep.
All right, the Green Bay Packers versus the Detroit Lions.
I like Green Bay in this one. Going on the road to Detroit. Detroit had a tough loss in Dallas. Looked like they had the game won, but in the end, couldn't pull through. Then Green Bay shut out Buffalo at home. Their defense was looking really nice. So I like Green Bay over Detroit in a shootout. I'm going to go 27-26 Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers is going to have a good day, as usual. Travis King.
No, I disagree. I think Detroit at Ford Field is going to prove too much for Aaron Rodgers and his lousy road record. 7-11, last 18 road games, about to become 7-12 in his last 19 after they get done with their matinee affair in Detroit on Sunday. Matthew Stafford, about like usual, he's going to outplay Aaron Rodgers. He's got weapons around him. They're going to execute. Green Bay's defense isn't going to be able to stop all that. Artillery, that's I guess how I word it. I do think potentially Green Bay can put up some points, but I just don't think they'll be able to do enough to keep up with Stafford and company. I think it'd be fairly close. It's good division rivalry. I'm going to go 34-28 Detroit.
I'm going to go with the Packers winning. I know they said there's some controversy between McCarthy and Rodgers, but I'm going with Green Bay winning. That's about all I got to say about that one.
Nick Bale's pretty confident in it.
Yeah, I am. Sorry, Matthew Stafford is yet to appease me as a starting quarterback in the NFL. He goes out one week and he plays like freaking Tom Brady, and then the next week he plays like A.J. McCarron or let's see, who we got, Nate Sudfeld or Dak Prescott. That's what he looks. That's what he plays like. But so, Brad, what did you say?
I picked Green Bay.
Yeah, me too. Okay.
I picked Detroit.
So I'm having short-term memory loss. All right, moving on to the Baltimore Ravens versus the Cleveland Browns. That's the dog pound, Brad.
I got Baltimore going into Cleveland, picking up the win. Baltimore looked good against Pittsburgh. I didn't think they'd go into Pittsburgh and win, and then they won significantly. So I don't see why they couldn't go into Cleveland and do the same. Baltimore's a legit Super Bowl contender, I believe, this year. They are good on defense, and on offense, they're pretty explosive. Flacco's in a contract year, and he's playing lights out. And John Brown, the receiver, he's looking good. Baltimore's a scary team, so I think they're going to win this game. Pretty close game. I'm going to say 23-17.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Baltimore as well. Originally, up until today, I was going to pick Cleveland. Then there's one thing that made me change my mind on it this afternoon when I got home from work. I was watching Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. They somehow got on the subject of this game, and Skip Bayless brought up a good point about Baltimore having the number 1 rated defense overall in the NFL. And I do think Baker Mayfield's a really good quarterback, but I just think it's going to be a little bit too much for him, although they are at home, and he balled out at home against the Jets. I think Baltimore's defense is quite a bit better than the Jets, of course. But, yeah, I do think it'll be pretty close, though. But I think Baltimore is going to do just enough. Flacco, I could see him making a big-time throw late in the fourth quarter or something like that. And I think Baltimore, they'll run the ball pretty well. Try to chew up that time of possession, keep Baker and that offense off the field. But, yeah, I think it'll be close. I'm going to go, I'm going to 1 point game. I'm going to go 24-23 Baltimore.
Nick Bell.
Bold prediction.
Justin Tucker be a big difference maker in this game. Best kicker in the league, and he's going to have a few field goals, I feel like.
Okay, I'm going with Baltimore as well. Exactly what Brad said. I had that thought on my mind today. If they can go into Pittsburgh and beat Pittsburgh, they can go into Cleveland and beat Cleveland. I mean, me and Brad think a lot alike. Just like we predicted the Patriots and Colts score the same, and last week we predicted the score same, and then today we think the same thing. Just only if my record was as good, but I'm going with Baltimore. Okay, moving on to the New York Giants and the Carolina Panthers. Brad.
I like the Panthers in this one. Panthers are a good team. I'd say one of the best teams in the NFC. I usually hate on them and harp on them and talk trash about them. But this version of the Panthers, I really don't have a problem with. I like the way they play. I like McCaffrey. Starting not to hate Cam as much as I used to. And their defense is pretty solid. Their secondary may have some question marks, but that front seven's solid. But I like Carolina in this one. I'm going to go 27-14 possibly, 27-17, something like that.
Yeah, I like Carolina as well. I actually think this game's going to be a blowout. Don't see this being much of a contest. Giants coming off of a tough loss at home against the Saints, now having to travel to Carolina. Carolina's well rested, been off for 2 weeks. They're, of course, coming off a bye week. And not to mention, Carolina just signed, I think, safety Eric Reed last week. A Pro Bowl safety right in the prime of his career at 26 years old. That's going to give the secondary a boost. Plus, Carolina, he won't be there this week playing in Thomas Davis, but they have him coming back 1 week from this Sunday against, I believe, the Redskins. So they have that to look forward to as well. And I just don't think the Giants got enough on defense to stop Newton, McCaffrey. And also, they're getting back Curtis Samuel, who's a good speed threat that the Giants have to respect. And if I'm not mistaken, Damari Bird's going to be back in the lineup too, another speed threat. So yeah, I just don't think the Giants can be able to slow down the offense. And if the Giants don't run the ball well, they are going to get absolutely lit up like a Christmas tree in Charlotte on Sunday. And I don't see them running the ball well. Carolina's got too good of a front, too good of a D-line, and Giants O-line's pretty weak on top of that. And Eli's going to be a long afternoon in Charlotte for Eli. I'm going to go 35-7 Carolina.
I'm going with Carolina as well. Hard to figure out if Eric Reed's going to bring drama to that team or if he's going to bring that team together. I don't know. You bring in players like that, everybody gets to talking, the media gets to talking, and next thing you know, you just got a bunch of drama on that defense and in the locker room. But I hope it works out for him.
That could, it could be a distraction, or it could bring them closer together because they want to stick up for their guy. So
everything I've read, everybody on the team supports the way he feels about injustice and stuff. By the way, because where I'm on Facebook, I'm on the Panthers pages, and it popping up on my news feeds every day, and I'm reading into it. Seems like a lot of people respect this guy and love this guy.
I respect him, but I don't love him. I'm going with the Panthers. Moving on to the Miami Dolphins at 3-1 versus the Cincinnati Bengals at 3-1.
Yeah, I like the Bengals in this game, and I feel pretty confident about it on top of that. Miami got their butts handed to them up in New England. They got that first loss under their belt. Now I think they're going to have 2 losses in 2 straight weeks under their belt, both on the road. Cincinnati coming off, I guess you could call it a big win in Atlanta. I mean, I give them credit. They won the game. A.J. Green, a Georgia boy, played at the University of Georgia, went back down to Atlanta, did work. Of course, against the defense, had a lot of injuries, but still, I mean, at the end of the day, you got to give them credit. But, yeah, I like Cincinnati. I don't think Miami's going to be able to do enough on defense, slow them down. I know they're without Eifert now. I guess they're without him the rest of the year, though, after his bad injury he had on Sunday. Of course, I guess Joe Mixon's still out, but I still think they're going to win. And Cincinnati's defense is pretty good, although against Atlanta you wouldn't think that, but that is Atlanta. It's like a big difference. Atlanta's offense, Miami's offense, especially when you get Atlanta in Atlanta. But, yeah, I think this is a semi-blowout. Wouldn't quite say a full-throttle blowout, but it's going to be on the verge of a blowout. I'm going to roll with Cincinnati. I'm going to go 30-13 Cincinnati.
The Cincinnati Bengals are a surprise team in the NFL this year. Starting out 3-1, I would have never thought that. I mean, they're just playing incredible ball. A.J. Green and Tyler Boyd, 2 serious threats at receiver. And then when they get John Ross, and when they get Joe Mixon back, it's going to make that offense that much better. So, yeah, I like the Bengals in this one. Pretty easy. The little Dolphins fairy tale come to an end Sunday like I thought it would, and the fairy tale continues to go down the drain this Sunday against Cincinnati. I like the Bengals easy in this one.
I like the Bengals, yeah. I think that Dolphins defense will be able to hold them for a half, maybe 3 quarters, but Andy Dalton's balling out this year. And as long as A.J. Green's on that offense, that's scary. I'm going to go with Cincinnati winning. Moving on to the 4 o'clock games, the Oakland Raiders versus the Los Angeles Chargers.
This right here is going to be the game of the week, in my opinion. 2 great offenses and 2 very suspect defenses. So it's going to be a full-blown shootout in L.A., and I like the Raiders going on the road and getting the win. I had a tough time with this game, but I came to the conclusion on the Raiders game picking the Raiders because they've played a tougher schedule, I feel like, and played well with the schedule they've had. And the Chargers, looks like, they should have had an easy win last week and squeaked one out against the 49ers. So I don't know what's wrong with their defense. They need to get that fixed, but the offense is fine. Phillip Rivers is doing well. Melvin Gordon's doing good. But, yeah, I like the Raiders going on the road 35-31.
I disagree. I like the Chargers at home in this game. But I do think it'll be a good game, and I do think it'll be a shootout. And, yeah, you brought up a good point about the Chargers and 49ers, but I think the Chargers just honestly overlooked the Niners, especially the week before they lost Garoppolo. And then I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. Uh,
Go ahead, Trav. Get back on track. Your train's going off the rails.
oh,
boy.
Lord. Yeah, I just think they overlooked Garoppolo. Them not having Garoppolo is what I meant to say. I just don't think they took him seriously, and I think that's why it turned into as close of a game as it was. But, yeah, I do think this will be a good game. Perhaps one of the better games of the week, I feel like. But, yeah, I just think the Chargers going to be a little too much for Oakland. Oakland, really, in my opinion, after I seen the highlights, really shouldn't have beat Cleveland at home last week. The referees, and I hate to jump on refs because I'm a ref myself and I know how tough it is, but they had a horrible missed call where Derek Carr, Nick might know what I'm talking about, where he got stripped, and they blew it dead.
And also, Marshawn Lynch ran down the sideline, and they blowed him dead for forward progress.
Oh,
and if he would have kept going, he would have had another beast mode 3.0 run.
No.
I'm not a Raiders fan, but I like him and stuff. But I thought that Derek Carr call was a give back, I'd say.
Yeah.
But I saw a lot of questionable calls. But when they moved the ball back at the end of the Browns game, I don't know if you saw that. The Browns had it 3rd and 1 with 1 minute and 40 seconds to go, and they ran the ball. They originally marked it a first down, and then they went to replay and they moved it back like 6 inches.
Wow.
And there was
I did see that.
There was
I did.
nothing that I saw that could just make it conclusive that.
Yeah, I did see that. You're right about that.
But,
I didn't see Lynch's run, but I trust what you're talking about on that.
Yeah, it was gonna be a big run, and then somehow they reversed it. I mean, the announcers were talking. They was like, "There's no way they're gonna reverse this."
Well,
And they reversed it. I about peed my britches. I couldn't believe it.
well,
Yeah, I actually turned the game off after they went to review because I thought, oh well, they ain't gonna move it back. Here I am watching Sunday Night Football. It says we'll update you on the Browns and Raiders in overtime right now. I went, what? I was like, unbelievable.
well.
So
Another thing to factor in this Chargers-Raiders game is it's not going to be a true home game for the Chargers. You know the Raiders fans are going to be showing up.
Oh, yeah.
So it's basically like a road game for the Chargers, if you ask me.
A lot more Raiders fans than Chargers fans, I'd say. Sure enough, yeah.
So that's another thing to think about. So who you got, Nick?
Raiders.
I just like the Chargers. I like Phillip Rivers
No,
too
I'm
much.
just kidding. I don't know why I said the Raiders. I got in the conversation of them beating the Browns. I got Melvin Gordon in fantasy this week. I think they're going to get a big lead, and he's going to get the rock a lot.
So you going Chargers?
Yeah, I'm definitely not taking the receivers in FanDuel.
The Chargers receivers?
Yeah. Or Phillip Rivers, I'm not taking them. I just think they're going to get a big lead, and it's going to go to Gordon.
I think it's going to be a shootout, man. I think the Raiders are going to
Who
win.
should I take, Calvin Ridley or Juju Smith-Schuster?
Probably Smith as banged up as Falcons' defense is.
I'd go Ridley because Steelers secondary's worse than Atlanta's statistically this year. Believe it or not.
I don't know what to do.
Ridley's number one receiver in fantasy, man. And his price on FanDuel's probably went up, I imagine.
About $1,500.
Yeah, so.
Moving on to a tricky game. The Arizona Cardinals versus the San Francisco 49ers. Travis.
I like the Cardinals going on the road to San Fran and actually getting a win if anybody can believe that. And there's no way I would pick that if Garoppolo was playing, but without him, I think they're going to get it done. San Fran's defense is pretty weak. I think David Johnson's going to have a big game running the ball. I could see him having 100 yards rushing potentially. And I think Josh Rosen's going to do enough. I think Fitzgerald could have a big game as well, possibly. An interesting game. I don't know if I'd say an intriguing game, because neither team I feel like is very good at this point, and already week 5 in the year. But yeah, I'm gonna take the Cardinals on the road. I'm gonna go 24-20 Cardinals.
The Arizona Cardinals are the only team in the NFL without a win left on the year, and I think they're going to have to wait another week for that because I like the 49ers in this game. It's going to be an ugly game. Probably arguably the two worst teams in football, and I think the 49ers will pull it out. The way they played against the Chargers on the road showed me that they're not going to just lay down and take losses. They're actually going to battle. So I like the 49ers winning a close one, an ugly one. Lots of field goals, lots of ugly plays, lots of turnovers. But, yeah, I like the 49ers.
Well, Travis, you said, can you believe it? Well, I do believe it. I'm taking the Arizona Cardinals. When I look at this, it comes down to running backs for me. And I think David Johnson's just way better than Matt Breida. C.J. Beathard, he got injured and took out of the game last week, and then he was brought back in. So who knows if he's 100%. But I'm going to go with Arizona, and I'm going to say Arizona will get their first win, and Josh Rosen have a decent game, but David Johnson will carry the offense. But you're right, it will be a sloppy game.
But you got to think, too, it's Rosen's first road start and his second start overall in his career. So a lot of nerves. 49ers fans are going to be there. Good fans, so it's going to be a loud environment.
All right, moving on. The Los Angeles Rams versus the Seattle Seahawks.
I'm sorry, Nick Bell, but the Rams are going to demolish them. I hate to say it.
What do you mean by demolish?
It's not going to be close.
What's your point spread?
34-17, something like that. But it's not really a full-blown beatdown, but easy win for him, I feel like. Now, if Earl Thomas would have got hurt and flipped the bird, I would say close game. I might even pick Seattle, who knows, but that defense is in shambles, man.
What's your spread? Let's make a bet. Give me a spread.
All right, 34-17, so 17 points.
17-point spread.
What are you thinking? What do you have the score being?
I say 20-point spread.
Oh, you think the Rams are going to win by 20?
I'm saying under. I think Seattle will keep it within 20.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, 17. They'll keep it under 20, I feel like.
Okay, so you said 17?
Mm-hmm.
You want to make a bet?
Well, yeah, we'll talk about it after this.
All right.
We'll get into the nitty-gritty about it, but go ahead, Trav.
Yeah, I like the Rams in this game too. And I honestly think it's going to be a blowout as well. Just Seattle's just got too many issues, and Earl Thomas getting hurt, unfortunately. Bad for him, hate it for him. Really good safety. Then on top of that, giving the Seattle sideline the middle finger. So that's a lot of drama there. And Rams are just on top of their A game right now. Plus, you got to factor in they've had 10 days off to prepare for this matchup. And I know it's at Seattle. And, I mean, at least starting out for the game, the 12th man, possibly, I'd say. I'm not going to exactly say, but it's possibly the best fans in football as far as environment to play in, anyhow. Yeah. It's going to be loud, but if LA does what I think they're going to do, it's not going to be loud for long. Because I could see the fans heading for the exits pretty fast.
Oh, man. Seattle fans don't do that. They stay the whole game, because if I remember correctly, in the NFC Championship game, the Seattle Seahawks played the Green Bay Packers, and you saw what happened.
Yeah. Well, you got to think, though, there's not much to do in Seattle besides watch the Seahawks. Mariners are they ain't in the playoffs. They ain't got a basketball team.
Well, they're talking about adding the hockey team and possibly even the basketball team back to it.
Well, that'd be good. They're a good basketball city. I don't know if you've seen what happened on Monday Night Raw when Elias called out the
Supersonics.
Yeah, and the fans let him have it. So yeah, they're passionate about their basketball. But so who you rolling with in this one?
Oh man, I gotta roll with the Rams, but I think Seattle's gonna keep it closer than what most people think. And it wouldn't surprise me if Seattle won. I mean, dude, it'd just be amazing if Seattle just shut up that Rams team. Because, coming into the season, Seattle was predicted to go 4-12, and we're 2-2 right now. We're above expectations, and we should be 4-0, losing the other two games by one possessions each that we had a chance to win. And I just think Pete Carroll's philosophy, next man up, everybody stays in it. We don't ever lay down. And Russell Wilson's only lost 3 games in his 6 years in the NFL by more than one possession. So I don't think it's going to be a 4th game this week. I think he'll keep it within 8.
I don't know about that. That Rams offense is explosive, man.
It
Jared
is.
Goff looked good on Thursday night.
It is.
I would argue he might be better than Carson Wentz.
But I picked the Rams.
Okay.
All right. The Minnesota Vikings versus the Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, this is probably the best game of the week in my opinion, and I like the Eagles at home at Lincoln Financial Field. I think they're going to bounce back after that really tough loss they had in Nashville, Tennessee last Sunday. And I mean, Minnesota is coming in also with a chip on their shoulder, losing 2 in a row. Of course, Bills I feel like was a fluke. The Rams definitely wouldn't, but yeah, and plus you got to look at Philadelphia. They demolished the Vikings in the NFC Championship game last year. A lot of people thought Minnesota would win that game, including myself, but they didn't, and they got demolished. So Minnesota, on top of that, have a chip on their shoulder for that as well. But I just think at home, Philly's going to be a little too much, despite the fact Minnesota got revenge on their mind and the chip on their shoulder. I think Wentz is going to have a good game. If anything, I'm beginning to think Minnesota's defense may be a little overrated, the way it's looking right now anyhow. And I think Phillies, you want to do enough on defense to win this game. It'll be a heck of a game. Very good game. I actually think it'll be a 1-point game. I think Jake Elliott's going to kick a field goal late to seal it. We'll go 31-30, Philadelphia.
Did you guys know that Kirk Cousins is now 4-20 against teams that are above 500 in his career?
Maybe
4-20.
maybe that's why Washington didn't pay him.
True. But I think after this Sunday, he's going to be 4-21 against teams with an above 500 record. So give me the Eagles. They had a tough loss last week, but they're going to bounce back at home. They're undefeated at home, 2-0, 0-2 on the road. So home field treats them well. So I'm going to go Eagles in a close one, low-scoring game, 20-16.
You want to know the key to winning this game?
What's that?
You got to stop Adam Thielen.
True.
You stop Adam Thielen, you win. If Adam Thielen goes out there and he gets 100 yards receiving, you are not going to win.
And the Eagles secondary is horrible right now, so it's going to be tough to do. They gotta change something. Their run defense is first in the NFL, I'm pretty sure, or near the top, but I'm pretty sure it's first. But that secondary, man.
I think they'll be fine stopping the run.
Yeah, you know, the Rams and Vikings game, 5 receivers over 100 yards receiving. Second time that's ever happened in NFL history.
Whew.
They've had 5 receivers over 100 yards receiving.
They were Thielen, Diggs, Cooper Kupp, Woods, and Cooks. Yeah.
It was a really high scoring offensive game. Very interesting. Big for fantasy people.
Mm-hmm. Good Thursday night football game. Best one they've had in a while.
Yeah,
Yeah, really good game.
I'm still going to roll with Kirk Cousins.
You going with the Vikings?
Yeah. I'm going Minnesota.
What?
They just impressed me the way they played Los Angeles.
I can see it.
And that defense is better than Tennessee's defense. And y'all are at home, yeah, but
I'd argue that Tennessee's defense is better than Minnesota's this year at this point.
I would too. They scrap, man.
I just think Minnesota. When on paper, I'm more scared of Minnesota.
True.
So I'm going with Minnesota winning in an upset.
All right.
So moving on.
We'll see about that.
Yeah.
Fly Eagles fly.
Cowboys versus the Texans, Brad.
Texans in a beat down. Oh me, oh my. Houston, Texas is not going to treat Dallas well this Sunday night. Deshaun Watson is going to ball out. They're going to show the Cowboys what a real quarterback looks like. Dak Prescott's going to be shaking in his boots. He's going to be wishing he was anywhere but Houston after this Sunday night. I like the Texans in a big win, blowout, 35-17. Yeah, Dallas, they got a good win against Detroit, but hey, Detroit's not Houston in my opinion. I think Houston's a lot better team, so Not high on Detroit, though, like Travis King is over here. I think he's an undercover Lions fan, on the verge of it, the way he talks about them. But I thought he was an undercover Buccaneers fan there for a few weeks, but that ship has sailed, no pun intended. Travis King, who you like in this game?
Oh, I like Houston in a blowout as well. Dallas hasn't played well on the road all year long. They're 0-2 on the road, albeit in two tough environments, Charlotte and Seattle. And now Houston's a pretty tough environment to play in as well, especially in a primetime Sunday night game. And Houston's got some confidence back. They're coming off a big win on the road against the Colts, against a division rival, who in the week prior to that, they had a horrible loss at home, in my opinion, against the Giants, and somehow, strangely enough, went on the road and beat the Colts. That's just because Colts defense couldn't stop them. But still, though, that's football. But anyhow, yeah, about like Bradley, I like Hayward. Sean Watson's going to show old Dak Prescott what a real quarterback he is. And Dallas's defense isn't going to be able to stop DeAndre Hopkins, Will Fuller, those guys, Deshaun Watson. They're not going to have an answer for them. And I think this is going to be a blowout. I'm going to go 35-14 Houston.
Yeah, I actually think this is going to be a really close game. But I'm taking the Houston Texans. I mean, it's two in-state rivals. I think they played not 4 years ago, but 8 years ago on Thanksgiving. They play every 4 years.
Yes.
And Houston won by a field goal, I do believe. And then the 4 years ago, I think, this is when the Texans were horrible, but I think the Dallas won by 3 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been field goal games the last 2 times, I believe. Don't quote me on that. So this weekend, I don't know if it'll be a field goal, but I think it'll be a one-possession game. I'm going to go with the Houston Texans. I just because of their in-state, I think that's why it's going to be close.
I think it's going to be a blowout because Deshaun Watson, when the bright lights are on, that man goes off. And he's going to go off on Dallas. And then Dak's going to be having to play catch-up, which does not favor Dallas. They are favored.
They need to run the ball.
Yeah.
They're going to be able to do that when they're behind by a lot.
Yeah, ball control is their strength, and they're not going to be able to do that against Houston. So Houston wins big.
All right, moving on to the Monday night game. The Washington Redskins travel to the New Orleans Saints.
Drew Brees is on the verge of making history this Monday night. I think he needs 231 yards to pass Peyton Manning, all-time passing yards list. I think he'll do that easily. I like the Saints in this game. I think it'll be a pretty close game, somewhat of a shootout. But I like the Saints 30-24. Mark Ingram will be returning, so that's going to help a lot. Even though Kamara held down the fort quite well in his absence, Kamara is a stud. I wanted him in fantasy in every league, and I couldn't get him just the way it fell. I was either too late or too early to get him because I wasn't going to pick him, with the first overall pick. But I wish I would have had him on a few teams, but that guy's a stud. He's going to be a great running back for years to come. One of my favorite players in the league, but yeah, give me the Saints 30-24.
Yeah, I like the Saints as well. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game and somewhat of a potential blowout as well, if that makes sense in a high-scoring game. But I'm going to go with the Saints. I'm going to go 42-24. And that dome, they're going to light the Redskins' defense up like a Christmas tree. And Drew Brees, I definitely think it's going to break that record, barring he doesn't get hurt or something crazy happen, And I could honestly see Drew possibly throwing for maybe as many as 400 yards in this game. And Mark Ingram coming back, that's just going to add another element, another weapon to that offense that's already good. I could see Michael Thomas having 2 touchdowns, heck, maybe even 3. Redskins defense just think will have an answer, especially in the Dome on a Monday night. I do think they're going to put up some points. I give them 24, but Saints defense still suspect to me. But, yeah, I think Saints be too much. And I will say it's going to be pretty cool to see Drew Brees, good quarterback, and on top of that, a great human being, break a record on a Monday night. It's going to be cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm going with the Saints. Be a low-key good game. I mean, the Saints team is interesting. They could easily be 4-0 right now. They could easily be 0-4. Yeah, I mean, if you look back at the games and stuff, because they used a field goal away from losing to the Browns, or actually a couple field goals because the kicker missed both of them and an extra point.
And they could have also lost to Atlanta. It was a
Yep.
close game. They went to overtime, so.
They would have lost the coin toss. Like I said, I bet Atlanta would have went down and scored a touchdown. Just fate of the coin toss, man.
I just think the Saints are gathering things up, but I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl. Right now, my Super Bowl prediction was Minnesota versus Jacksonville. That still looks like it could be in play. But right now, I'd have to say the Chiefs and the Rams.
That's what I was getting ready to ask. We're 1/4 of the way through the season. I was getting ready to ask, who do y'all think at this point in the year will be in the Super Bowl? So you're saying Chiefs Rams?
Yeah, at this point, Chiefs Rams. Yep.
All right, Trav.
This may surprise some people. I think Baltimore Ravens in the AFC. And NFC, I'm going to say probably give the edge to the Rams just because they're playing so well. It's Ravens and Rams.
Me personally, I know this may sound biased, but I like the Eagles and the Chiefs. The reason I say the Eagles over the Rams is because the Rams haven't played a team with quite the defense Philly does, and I think Philly could slow them down quite a bit. So, and then again, Philly hasn't took off on offense like they need to because Wentz has been out, but I still think Philly's the team to beat in the NFC. As good as the Rams look, I still like Philly. And then the Chiefs, I say in the AFC only because the rest of the AFC, no team really impresses me that much. New England doesn't, Pittsburgh doesn't. Baltimore does somewhat, but I'm not sure if they are a Super Bowl threat. I'd say they're a Super Bowl contender, but not a threat, like a full-blown obvious choice. So, yeah, Chiefs-Eagles for me. Well, I think that's it for this week, guys. We are signing off. Shots fired. Bang, bang.
Nick Bell.
Travis King.
Brad Freakin Nolen. See you later, alligator.